Welcome in back to Destination Devy. Y'all know who it is, your boy RayG, joined as always by my man, my brother, my co-host, Scott Connor. You can find him at Charles Chill FFB and me at RayGQue. The topic of today's show is something that Scott and I kind of talked about over the past couple of days. Maybe some of y'all have seen or heard about this monster deal that went down in one of the sleeper leagues. And it was a deal that I made, and it was a huge deal, a deal that I've never seen sort of done before, like in a real dynasty league, right? In something where real money is at stake. And I made this deal. There's a lot of strategy to it, and we'll talk through that. But we thought it would be a really unique and a really cool exercise to talk through a monster trade like this. And not only did I make a deal like this guy right here, he also made a similar type deal 24 hours after I did. And we really wanted to talk through the philosophy, the strategy, the reasoning behind a trade like this because it was a unique one in a league that matters, Scott.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we're going to share the trades. You're going to see all the names and all the picks involved. But the purpose of this, the reason why we're literally sitting down and doing a video show or a special broadcast or whatever you want to call it. This isn't even Destination Dynasty. This isn't Wake Up. This isn't Destination Chill. This is just Ray and I talking dynasty strategies, because I think the nuances of the why behind this trade, the impact that it has on the league economy, we're going to talk about that, but also some of the other factors that went into it. People will see the names. They'll see the picks. They'll go, was that a good trade? Was that a bad trade? You can throw it into a trade calculator and you can say, Ray got a better deal than Scott, or Scott got a better deal than Ray. But I think some of the nuances as to why we did it, where this league came from, the stakes, but then also the future impact on the league. And maybe it can inspire some people out there playing Dynasty to start thinking about things a little differently than just the players and the picks involved in the trade. I think there's bigger implications, which is what we want to walk through today. So where do you want to start?
Let's start through the type of league. Like, what type of league is it? It's on Sleeper. We kind of talked about that. But, like, league, we don't have to get into the scoring specifics because that's irrelevant. But just the type of league that we're in.
Well, it's a best ball league. This was a startup we did last year. If you were in Heisman last year, you, I, and we had one other member in Heisman. Shout out to Jay Peters. I'm sure he won't care us giving him a shout out on this channel. But we all entered into this startup draft. It was a high stakes draft, so pretty big stakes on the line. And we all immediately went into it. I don't think we had a strategy necessarily, but we went into it going, all right, this is a 12-team, start 11. I think it's 32-man rosters. It's best ball. The scoring is enough to where I think every position mattered.
Yeah. So
it was one of those where, like, you wanted to get as many good assets as possible. But it turns out that you and I took a similar approach. I can't remember. I think you took the lead in that approach, trading your future capital. So I kind of followed suit, like, all right, this is a high-stakes league. Winner's going to walk away with $5,000. So, I mean, it's a big deal if you win this year one. But we kind of broke the mold, and I think read the room. We knew immediately there was somebody that was just going to be punting, trading his startup picks, collecting future picks. Long story short, regardless of the settings, the scoring, anything like that, Ray and I ended up trading away our future first for the next 2 years and basically building win-now teams with, if you go through the top 150 players in Dynasty, if it's a old running back or receiver over the age of 28, they probably were on Ray or I's team. And we knew it. We both knew it. It started to become an arms race within this league to where there were, 10 teams going for it and 2 teams punting, and it was very clear. And just for the perspective of this, you were able to trade picks 2 years out. So 2024 and 2025. This guy ended up with 71 picks over the first 2 years. So it's a 12-team, 4-round draft. So it's 48 picks. You do the math. 71 out of the future 96 picks in 24 and 25, this manager owned. Now, I don't think he had anything asset-wise on his roster. So it was all picks. I think his best player might have been like Zach Charbonnet was his best asset other than draft picks.
Yeah, all they had was picks.
That's where it started. We were all in. Jay Peters was all in. You were all in. Other teams traded their capital. Dude ended up with, I think, 19 firsts over the first 2 years. I mean, you can just picture somebody with 71 draft picks and what it looks like with all the other teams and how all in they are in year one and year two. So we knew what we were doing, and I'll let you add to anything else on where it started. But that's where this was born. We both kind of went against our process and said, 2-year window, and let's see how it works out. And we both knew we were getting into it. And then the season plays out, and I'll let you share how you did versus how I did. But fast forward a year later, and we're here trying to figure out what the hell to do next.
Yeah, it's just I don't play in startups that are snake anymore. Like if it's not it's non-auction, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And I think because I kind of didn't like the startup format, I was just like, F it, I'm going to try to win. Like my mind was made up from round one that I was going to take I was going to fade any type. No hopium. I didn't take any type of hopium bets until tight end, which paid off. But long story short, yeah, man, winner was walking away with $5,000, and it's like an empire league. Like there's money to be made in this league. So every decision that was made, any decision that was made from the startup to any trades, like everything was thought through. The money at risk, how much you had to put up front, the what you could win, all this stuff was factored into every decision. But I built a very good team that was able to win the league. Like I built to win now. And I had assets on my roster that were literally only good for right now, for that 1 week. There was very little future value. And Scott already said I sold every pick. Every 2024 pick and every 2025 pick was absolutely that they were gone for that. But I did win the league, so I was able to win it. So the strategy paid off, but I think that leads to the actual trading and my thought process with that team. You know, the roster was, I'll pull it up. I'll pull the roster up so we can kind of look at this together. All right, hold on real quick.
And before you share the trade, I'm just looking back at my message history with the manager that was also involved in these trades. Just to set the stage, Ray and I ended up making trades with the same manager, this guy that had all of the picks. Yeah. He reached out to me about 2 weeks before the deals went down, willing to sell some veterans. So I don't know what his plan is. I haven't talked to him about what his plan was, but he hit me up, and I don't know if he hit you up, but he hit me up and said, you got some veterans to sell. Obviously, he had kind of gotten a better feel for what the 24 class might have been, and he was looking to kind of thread the needle. Like he wanted to start buying some vets because he knew, hey, I have all these picks. I probably don't want to draft 71 rookies over the next 2 years.
Right.
So are you willing to start selling some picks? So I didn't make this deal for a couple weeks after, but he initially messaged me. I'm looking at the message 17 days ago from when we're recording this video. Hey, you willing to sell some vets? And I kind of left it there. I said, hey, I'm probably looking to retool my team. And then it went silent until old GQ's trade went through. And then I'm like, all right, let's go. So I'll set it up for you with how it started off-season wise for you, where you want to begin.
So for me, I'll just read you the players that I traded away, and I'll tell you my thought process before I tell you what I traded them for. So here's who I traded away. And some of these you'll be like, yeah, I don't even care. Traded away DeMarcus Robinson. Okay. Traded away Derrick Henry, Amari Cooper, Matthew Stafford, Aaron Jones, Jaylen Warren, Tyreek Hill, Christian McCaffrey, and the biggest hammer of them all, Josh Allen. I traded away Allen, QB1, McCaffrey, RB1, Tyreek Hill, wide receiver 1, and then Diggs, Cooper, Stafford, Jaylen Warren, Derrick Henry, DeMarcus. But that's who I traded away, right? So this is the squad that just took me to the promised land. This was the team that got me there. This was the team that got me to the promised land. And really, I only won by a Johnny Munt catch, but neither here nor there. As I assessed my squad, I had no draft capital. The only other young asset I do have Puka Nacua on this roster, But I looked at my team. I'm looking at the trajectory of these players, and I'm like, I don't want to bet on every little thing. I didn't waltz through the playoffs, right? And it wasn't like I dog walked Jay Peters in the championship game. It was a 3-point game. But as I looked at this roster, man, with the lack of picks, my only quarterbacks in a best ball league literally were Matthew Stafford, Josh Allen, and I had Desmond Ridder. I have nothing at quarterback. If Stafford retires, I'm up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. I just got Josh Allen. McCaffrey's at 20 soon. I know he's great, but even in this dynasty economy, no one's paying you 2 firsts for Christian McCaffrey. Nobody. So then I start to do I'm looking at this roster and I'm thinking, I really would like to trade some of these guys, but nobody has the picks because only one guy has all the picks. Nobody can even afford the McCaffrey. That you can't trade me anything back outside of Puka Nacua. You know what I'm saying? So I tried to sell these guys individually, Scott. No takers. You weren't buying my Stephon Diggs. Jay Peters didn't have anything to buy Amari Cooper with. So, I'm already looking at my roster thinking like, damn, man, I can't really make any moves. I ain't any picks, but whatever. I'll figure it out. And I'm gone at the movies seeing Kung Fu Panda with my kids. Kung Fu Panda, and the alert goes off, and I see, hey, Ray, I got a wild one for you. So I open it up, and all I see is just a litany of picks, and then the good players off my roster. And at first I didn't pay it any mind. And then I started looking, and it's the 102, the 106, the 108, the 109, the 110, the 2. It's like 5 first-rounders this year, a whole bunch of seconds and a whole bunch of thirds, and I don't have any capital. And I'm looking like, damn, okay. If I could finagle this somehow to get a quarterback back, just any quarterback back on top of the picks, at least I'll feel like I got something combined with the picks for Allen. The 106 right now are Christian McCaffrey. Like, McCaffrey's going to score more than Rome Odunze or Malik Neighbors, but people want those guys. So I made that assessment, man, and we kind of went back and forth that day, man, and we got to the point where he added Justin Fields to the deal, and I'm not even the biggest Justin Fields fan, but I know that if and when he gets traded somewhere, he will have a spike in ADV, and I'll try to sell him like that. And I'm not going to get greedy. I've already had some negotiations to move him. So I got a QB back. I added 5 first-round picks in 2024. I should just get on Sleeper so I could read the teams, the picks off in sequential order. Let me do that real quick, Scott. Is that that'll flow a little bit better. Here we go. So this is what I ended up getting. The 102, the 106, the 108, the 109, the 110, the 205, the 206, the 207, the 211, the 306, the 303, the 305, the 307, the 308, the 306, the 312, and the 310. Like, I sit here today and thinking about what just happened at the combine, and even if I don't like Fields, and I got a quarterback back I just didn't believe that my roster was going to hit every star in the sky, stay healthy, and do that again. Like, this felt like a lifeline for me, like a life raft. And I already won the league. Like, I won the league. So for me, it's an interesting project rebuild. But the more I look at it and the more I feel today, like, I feel pretty good. Like, I feel pretty good. And I know he's got those players are going to help him potentially win that league. But I feel great that I don't have to try to sell Aaron Jones or Amari Cooper or Derrick Henry or Matthew Stafford next year. Like, they're not my problem anymore. They did their job for me. They're no longer my problem. You can look at those guys, and in a year's time, the only few that have true value are Josh Allen, Tyreek, and McCaffrey. People don't want to go find somebody that's going to give up a first for Stephon Diggs today. Who's gonna give up the 110 for Diggs? Not saying that you shouldn't, but that was my assessment. I made this deal, and then a lot of people were like, "Yo, what was the thought process behind this? Like, why? how would you do that? Or how did you get that done? Or why would you do that? So it was just interesting. What were your kind of thoughts to that, man?
Well, if you want to pop it up on the screen, everyone can see exactly what my reaction was when I see this deal go through. There is Ray's full deal. So picture you being in a league where you already know, and I think part of what you were talking about without directly saying it was the market or the economy in this league was already different because you had one team that had all the picks. So you might sit there and go, Christian McCaffrey is worth X, and Tyreek Hill is worth Y, and Josh Allen should be worth X plus Y. But here's the problem. Any tier down on like Josh Allen that you would typically go for, hey, can I get Joe Burrow in a first? The team that has Joe Burrow isn't interested in giving a first because they're in the same boat you are. They're going, man, this is a deep best ball league. I need to preserve whatever capital or flexibility I have. It's a fair offer, but because of the nuances of where all the picks lie, I can't afford to make a deal like that. So it's not that you couldn't get deals done. You could probably only get deals done with even limited number of people because of where the picks already lied. So one thing that this manager did that we traded with, and I'll talk about my deal in a second, is he created a different economy. Now, we'll talk about at the end of this show if what he did with it would have been exactly what we would have done, but he created an economy where he controlled it. You wanted picks, you went through him.
Yeah.
If he wanted veterans, he went through anybody he wanted. And he named the terms of the deal, which I think is probably why you basically said it's got to be all or nothing, dude. And I think you had said you didn't really want to give up Josh Allen, but that was the linchpin that he needed to do the trade.
Yes.
But for you, it couldn't have been, okay, he's not going to give you the seconds and a couple of the thirds. And he's going to let you keep Amari Cooper and Aaron Jones. Like you're going, I need credit for everything that I don't want. That is one of the benefits of what I'm getting in the deal. So you can see it up here. It's a 17 for 10. But the bigger message here is maybe on paper, 1 for 1, you go, would I rather have Amari Cooper or the 211? A lot of people would go, you know what, I'll take the 211 if I'm contending. But the whole point in this trade is you needed to get rid of all of it. I need credit for everything. I'm trading in here's the greatest analogy. I'm trading in everything in my storage unit. I don't care if I don't get dollar for dollar. The most important thing is you clear it out.
You get the spec. Yeah.
I don't want to pay the monthly fee. So take everything out of it. Even if I'm not getting dollar for dollar, everything that it's worth it for me to clear it out so I can stop paying the monthly fee. That's kind of how you approach this trade. And I think you accomplish it. So then I see this trade from Ray and I go, oh shit. Because now I'm sitting here going, I'm in a similar boat as Ray. I did not collect the $5,000 prize that Ray did. So Ray's playing with house money. So you already kind of factored that in. Like, all right, I bucked it enough. I won the prize. I don't want to bet on it again. Deal done. And you texted me. You're like, I feel great about that trade. I can now have some fun with my team.
Yep.
I have some pieces to move. I have flexibility. I know that now you took big control over the draft pick market. And I go, okay, one more deal like this, because this guy gave up, I mean, hell, how many picks did he end up giving you? 17 picks?
17 picks.
Like, that's 17 out of the 71 that he had. So right there, he's down to 54. Now, he still controls it, but he doesn't control it to the degree that he did. Ray now controls a decent market of the picks. So I go, somebody's going to make a deal next with this guy. So I go right back to the guy, and I try to send him the same deal. So why don't you put mine up there?
All right.
So you can see what I worked out with him probably back and forth 20 different times. And there's actually 3 picks that are cut off in this deal as well. I ended up also getting the 302, the 402, and the 405 on top of what you see on the screen. Now, Ray cleaned up on the early and mid first this year. Like, you got that on lock. The most the guy had left was the 111 and the 112, which I got.
Yep.
Key thing, and this is where I made it a point to tell him, listen, this guy had 25 firsts left. And I said, man, I got to dent some of those 25 firsts. like part of the trade that I went to make with him is I need to kind of dent even more into his pick chest than what you did. So you need to give me my 25 first back. You clearly can see my team's going to suck. Originally, I was trying for Ray's first and my first, and I think that was a little greedy because he goes, yeah, Ray's team's going to suck too, probably. So he only would give me one, but I got my first back. I got the 111. I got the 112. I got the 202. Those are probably the 4 best pieces. A bunch of other throw-in picks, a third, another third, a fourth, another fourth, another fourth. And then I don't know. I think he felt bad and he gave me all the fodder on his team that he was going to have to cut.
Hey, but you got a few on there that you'll keep. Read them off. People want to hear them.
Listen, yeah. I mean, listen, in a best ball league, I don't mind Darnell Washington in a 2 PPR. I don't mind Jalen Hyatt. I don't mind Keaton Mitchell. Maybe I get something out of Elijah Higgins or Cedric Tillman, or Tank Bigsby gets in a role where I can flip him for a couple thirds. I mean, there's some outs on my team where – are any of these guys I'm building around? No, but I think there's maybe, what would you say? Maybe another second, couple thirds. I mean,
you haven't read who you gave up. Who did you give up?
Yeah. I gave up, as you can see, Aaron Rodgers, DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams, Tyler Lockett, Hunter Henry, Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb, Dalton Schultz, DK Metcalf, Marquise Brown, Travis Etienne, and Isaiah Likely. Now, you already heard what Ray said about all the crusty guys he had. I think I had more of them than you did.
Absolutely.
At least you had Josh Allen, Tyreek Hill, Christian McCaffrey. I'm sitting here going, I mean, which players on my team that you see in this trade, Ray, even survive another year? Etienne, maybe?
Etienne, Metcalf.
DK?
Adams, if he's playing. Yep, Adams.
But talk about getting some credit for Aaron Rodgers, 41 coming off an Achilles. DeAndre Hopkins, year to year, day to day at this point. Tyler Lockett, no market. Hunter Henry, no market. Joe Mixon, Bengals cut him, no market. Nick Chubb coming off a terrible injury, no market. Dalton Schultz, he's not with the Texans, no value. Isaiah Likely, okay, that's a piece I tried to keep, but I figured I'll let him go.
You're not going to fight. You're not going to let an Isaiah Likely mess up what you're trying to accomplish.
Correct. And to the other manager's point, he needed all of them. There was 13 players on my team he wanted. Basically, it was I need 12 of the 13. He said you can keep one player, and it was either Noah Fant or Dalton Schultz, and I said I'll keep Noah Fant.
Noah Fant.
And that was it. So my team is now gutted, and the one key thing is I also had C.J. Stroud and Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
He didn't even try for those guys because he knew he didn't have the high capital to get them. But dude already has like 6 quarterbacks. Like he's got Rodgers, Cousins, Stafford, like Josh Allen. So he's probably sitting there going, I need to fill every other spot. But listen, I mean, you can see what I gave up here. But let's talk about the impact of now what the rest of the league looks like. Because this dude's roster, I mean, we're talking like Dalton Schultz and Tyler Lockett are his 30th player. Like for a best ball, it is a team that, I mean, you've looked at his team. Given that he has all the capital next year, I think he has 425 first, a couple seconds, 5 thirds. Like, does anyone in this league truly, Ray, have a chance to beat this guy next year if he's smart about it?
If he's smart about it, no. He should win.
Right.
He should win. Just by sheer volume. EV bet, he wins.
Right. So now let's talk about the economy as it stands, where you and I now control the draft. I think we hold over half the draft picks in this class.
Mm-hmm.
And neither of us really have any pressure to do anything except for just kind of play this draft, play the value of our picks. If people want them, sure. I'm willing to trade a couple of those picks. I'm willing to trade. Hell, I might even be willing to trade one of my QBs. But I feel a relief now, especially, I mean, we're recording this after the combine, but we made these picks pre-combine, and I'm feeling about 50% better about my 111, 112, and 202. I'm penciling in 3 starters there, basically. Yep. And you got to be feeling great about all the thirds and seconds you got. I mean, how you feeling now? How's the economy shifted now that he's made these deals?
I think the initial feeling that I would feel is that of hopelessness if I were a contender. I would hate to be the contender that truly isn't a contender, but you built that way to where you don't have capital. Like that would be a very, because I don't care how you slice it, like this roster, it should not lose. It is, for this type of league with this roster size, there should not be a team that looks like this. But credit to that individual for having the dynasty discipline to hold those picks. Just like he held them. Now, would I have bought those assets today? There's no way. Like, no. I think if he had to do it again after the combine has taken place, he probably would have valued a lot of those picks a little differently, maybe. You know, for me, I'm not buying any. There's no reason for me to buy damn Aaron Jones today. Not today. I'm not saying it's a bad move, but I just probably would not have used my capital to do that right now. But psychologically, there is I don't know how to say this, but you know, when that happens, the other people in the league are just like, oh shit, now what do I do? You know, there is some power to psychologically, like what did everybody think when they saw that happen? Probably the same thing that I did, you know?
Well, let's talk like the extrinsic value of those trades too. I mean, what did he do with the trade with you? He killed your team. He eliminated a team from the league.
Yes.
Right? He eliminated the winner last year. Got him out, kicked him off the field. Then he went to my team and went, all right, a team that was pretty good last year. I think I ended up finishing like 5th place or something like that. Kicked him out of the way. So he got extra value by getting those deals done early because he goes, just flicked Ray off the screen, flicked Scott off the screen. And I think that's the key, that he probably wanted to get those deals done earlier rather than later, is it makes how he's going to operate the rest of the way easier to navigate now. And you hit the nail on the head. Why is it going to be harder for another contender now? And it's quite simple. You look at this dude's roster. He has 4 25 firsts and a bunch of seconds and thirds and whatnot. He has no incentive to make another damn deal until the season.
None.
You look at, I mean, yeah, he's going to have some injuries. He's going to have some gaps to fill. But there is effectively now zero market at all in this league to move anything. Because you and I aren't necessarily super interested in moving our future picks.
That is true, man.
He's not only eliminated Ray and Scott, but he neutralized the economy to where it's like he deflated the value of the dollar to where now nobody else can make a deal. So did he blow his load a little early? Yes. But I think he created an economy where now it's dead. It's dead, and I hold all the gold and all the oil. So literally the society is getting rebooted, and it has to go through me, or it's going to take another person or two in this league in a different position to work with each other. And until that happens, I think the power of him getting those two sweep the table deals done is actually why you do it early. You don't let anyone else position. You don't let Ray go and sell to Scott or vice versa. And I don't know what that have looked like, but I think getting him done, he literally killed any bartering or trading in this league until they're ready to come to him again. And at that point, he's going to have more leverage than he ever did. I think that's the key to this discussion.
And literally, man, there were so many times I wanted to text you and say, what do you think about this? But I didn't want you to, A, either talk me out of it, or B, try to get the deal done for yourself early. There were about 3 times. You can, this is not playing. You can ask, I think I messaged, no, I don't think I messaged anybody. I think I messaged Brandon about one little thing about a player or a pick or something, but I wanted to hit you up so many times and be like, dude, I'm thinking about doing something wild. But I didn't want you to either, because I know initially people are like, what? You gave up all of that? But the content, like I did win it. And I looked at that. I was rostering Keith Kirkwood, Richie James. It was awful. The people that I had on my bench, like there was no depth. Juju Smith-Schuster, Stone Smart. Like, I'm just rostering bums. There is nothing besides those hammers. Like, Jaylen Warren was a significant cog I lost. Like, it wasn't like my team was a juggernaut. It got hot at the right time. This was not a team that was going to win again. This was not a team, the way that it was constructed, it wouldn't win again. And I knew that. And I had no picks. And somewhere out of fantasy heaven came a life vest. And I got it. And like it or not, I even feel better about getting Field. The fact that I got a quarterback back. I got one back. To pair with those picks, it was something that I hadn't seen done. And I thought the whole conversation got around the dynamics of the league, the economy, why we made the deals. Hopefully people found this an interesting conversation, man, because I enjoyed going through it again, man. And you know what? I would do the same thing over again because I don't think that team, the way I was constructed, would win again. I would have lost. He would have made a deal with you, and I would have lost. And there would have been no market because you wouldn't have bought anybody that I had except Allen. And that wouldn't even have made sense. So it's fun, man. I enjoyed this, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, I mean, 2 trades, 63 assets combined, going back and forth in the 2 trades. Takeaways, and I'll let you close it out with any takeaways that you have, but takeaways for people listening to this going, hey, my league's not this extreme. What the hell can I learn from these 2 trades? Clearly, Scott, you and I play in a way. Yes.
One thing that we did not mention that is so important to this conversation. The league was not an active trading league.
Yes. Very important.
I don't want to say it was inactive, but there was little to no trade activity in that entire league. So to even get an offer that kind of made structural sense was rare.
Well, and you know what? We're not going to dive into the psychology of why, but I actually think part of the reason it was like that, Ray, was because of the actions of this manager doing what he did out of the startup. Sometimes it isn't that the league isn't active because the managers aren't active. It's just somebody does something that shifts the economy to where it really is forced to not be that active because of what we were all dealing with last year. Last year, there were 10 contenders. They were all fighting for the scraps on waivers. They were all fighting for the weekly, hey, what can I get for my 3rd? What can I get for my 4th? Anybody with picks left was looking, what can I get to help my team? Because I do have to win now. So my takeaways for people watching this, if you're in a league, you're probably not going to find a 24 for 12 like I did or a 17 for 10 like Ray did. That's probably not going to happen in your league. However, I think you do need to be thinking about some of these extrinsic factors of if you make a big deal, if you're looking at your team and you're figuring, all right, maybe this is not the best deal that I can make, but it's the deal that I can get. It's the one deal that if I get it, it could have a cascade effect on what my next move is going to be. It could have a cascade effect on what other managers in my league are going to do. Certain market isn't that high. Well, you know what? Maybe I'll change it up by making a big deal or making a big move and trying to disrupt the economy of the league. That's what we did. Easier said than done, but you do have to look deeper than what picks you got for what players. There was a lot more that went into it. Is it going to work out? Dude, Ray, we might play in this league 4 or 5 more years and never win another dime.
Yep.
Very possible.
Yep.
But I also think we recognize there was a point where this had to be done. I had to try the reboot because there was no other out. So it's really thinking through those impacts of what if you do this? What's it going to look like? What impact is it going to have on the rest of the league? And does it make me feel a little more comfortable? I'll tell you what, I play Dynasty. Yes, I play for the money. Yes, I play to win. But honestly, I feel it's a stress reliever now.
It feels so good.
I can push this league over to the side and go, hey, I'm going to have some fun with this league over the next year or two. Versus, oh my God, I have a win now team. I have no flexibility. I'm towing that line every day, man. I get 1 or 2 injuries and this team is completely blown. Then really all I want to do is just pay somebody to take it over for the next 3 years because I can't necessarily stomach doing it. So think about those things. Any takeaways from you just on how like the average Dynasty player can watch this and go, Okay, what can I think of when I go back to my leagues?
I think number one, don't go search this thing out, right? Like don't force something ridiculous, right? Like this is, I never would have thought like something like this, like I would even do, like be involved in this type of trade. Like it's crazy, right? There are definitely certain situations and factors and motivating things as to why it happened, and I truly believe it makes sense. But I think the big takeaway, and I think it's hardest for people to really play like, but it does allow just a different layer of thought when you are a little player agnostic, when you don't just, you're not so much focusing on the fact that it's Derrick Henry or a Stephon Diggs. Those are awesome names, like Aaron Jones, Christian McCaffrey even. It's the fact that it's this version of CMC, which is great on the field, but he's not valued like the guy in Carolina, right, who somebody would pay 3 first for. I don't care how good you think McCaffrey is, you're not getting that. Tyreek Hill is awesome, but in common dynasty leagues, no one's giving you 2 first-round picks for Tyreek Hill. So the takeaway is sometimes, even though the name and the production might be there, if you really assess your situation and say, my roster will be better, I will be able to do more from a construction standpoint, from an asset acquisition standpoint, if I'm just comfortable moving off of that name, it is a very enlightening feeling to where you know, like I will move anybody. And because a lot of people are like, this is an untradeable asset. I can't move this player until you can, until David Johnson happens. No one thought it would happen until it happened. So I don't know. I would do it again for everything that happened, the way the league is set up, everything that went down with the winning, the playoffs, the age, the rest of the roster, the lack of picks. I would do it again in a heartbeat. And I think this time it paid off because the combine did help increase the value of those picks. And I feel in good shape. Like whether I got to make the pick and select the player or at a point in time have the liquidity to buy whatever I want, I feel like I'm in a good spot.
Yeah, 100%. And, one of the takeaways is sometimes it works out. This is a good class to say I have all the picks. There's been other classes where you go, man, if I would have had all those seconds and thirds, I might not have felt good about it. But sometimes, that's the risk you take when you sell out for 2 future classes. One could be absolute bum of a class, and you're going, man, I really wish I wouldn't have paid up for all those late firsts and all those seconds. Or it could be like this. But I think the process helps some people here to kind of walk through this. I'll just say, be thinking about some of the other factors that you can impact your team, your league, the economy. Don't just look at the players and the picks on one side or the other. Think about the other implications. Ray made a great point about the league activity. What is that going to allow you to do in the future? And let that drive some of your decisions. It's not always about the trade calculator, the name, the pick. There's other things that go into it, and hopefully this video can highlight for people some of those extrinsic factors that go into making these moves. That is it. I love doing this. Hopefully people take something away from this, and hit us up in the comments. Yeah. These are the kind of discussions we have in Heisman where it's not just A or B, X or Y, side C or side D. A lot of times it's like, we need to know the nuances of these things. What's the activity? What's the market? All those things come into play to assess a dynasty trade or some dynasty strategies. So that's all I got.
It's good out. Appreciate y'all. Hit that thumbs up button. We out.